Cure fans. Welcome to the Holy Hour podcast, the bi-weekly podcast devoted to the Cure. I'm Gavin. Thanks so much for joining us. We got a great show in store for you today. Thanks for tagging along. I did want to start things off at the top of the episode before I even dive into what this episode is about. We got a great notification from a fella out in Poland, and his name's Jacek. I may be mispronouncing that, so I'm apologizing that in advance. But Jacek and Martin have been working on this project called The Cure in Lodz 2016, a multicam video of basically it's a live show that The Cure played in 2016 in Lodz, Poland. Lodz, I'm probably mispronouncing too. From when I tell, it's fairly commonly mispronounced, so don't feel as bad about that one. But Lodz, I think is how you're supposed to pronounce it, but I'm just calling it Lodz, L-O-D-Z, and apologize for that too. But that's not the point. The point is this amazing film that they've put together. It's a multicam video. Basically, what they did is get as much footage as they can from fans and people supporting this project. Just sent in smartphones, anything they've recorded, any kind of footage, and they were able to put it over amazing audio. Somehow they got a really great sound quality of the live show. It's a great live show, almost 2 hours and 43 minutes, and it's just a really solid set list and a great little memory from the whole tour, and represents the whole tour very well, I thought. But they sent me a notification for this, and it's free now and available on their website, thecure.pl. And you can just go on over there and download the whole show for free. And we wanted to spread the word on this and get it out to as many people as possible, because they did an amazing job with this. At the website, you can go and download it in various formats too. They have like full HD, HD 1080, HD 720, DVD quality, and you can even download a cover and print up a little DVD of yourself if you want to burn it to a DVD. So very cool, and great sound quality. Like I said, they sent me a little press release just to give you a better idea of what it is. The goal was to create one-of-a-kind multicam with the best possible quality of audio and video. Almost 1,000 people joined this project and sent their videos and photos. More than 350 gigabytes of video files with different quality, from phone clips to Blu-ray and 4K quality files, were gathered. They were also managed to get audio files with a quality almost soundboard recording quality. The result is a 2 hour and 43 minutes highest possible video quality, and they managed to get it. It will be released completely free of charge and able to download in various qualities. As of now, they have like 3 songs in promotional that you can stream on YouTube if you still want to check it out before committing to the download. They have Lullaby, A Forest, and Just Like Heaven, and we'll post those in our Facebook thread for this episode. But yeah, just go on over to thecure.pl, and you'll see the link right there. And we'll also put a link in the Facebook page. Free of download. It's awesome. They are RAR files, which I had some trouble with being a Mac user. Apparently that's some kind of problem with Mac stuff, but I just basically had to download an app, the Unarchiver, and extract them, and then you get it rolling from there. But you can also look up tutorials on that. It's all easy to download and check out, so go check out The Cure from their show, almost a year to the day, 10/20/2016 in Lodz, Poland. An amazing show, and these guys did a really great job. And thanks again to Jacek and Martin for tipping me off to it. And I hope we can send a lot of people your way, though. So go check it out. As for this episode, we got a good one for you. Donald and I sit down and chit-chat. We talk about gear, and we know that can alienate a lot of people. So we tried really hard not to just make it guitar nerd tech talk. So we really tried to make it relevant to the songs that everybody knows and loves. But I do want to apologize on the top if it gets a little too guitar nerd talk, but we'll be back soon with some casual chit chat, and we really hope you enjoy it. We kind of focused on Robert's guitars. We did have a little something for everybody, but figured that was the most prominent, and just really wanted to talk about the guitars he's used over the years. So let's dive in. Welcome, good people of the internet. How's it going? Welcome to the Holy Hour podcast. This is Gavin. I'm joined by...
This is Donald.
Donald. Hey, man. How's it going, buddy?
Good, dude.
Cool.
It's going all right.
Cool. Welcome out there. And, Yeah, this is the All Cure podcast. We sit around, we talk about the cure, and you found your home if that's what you're looking for. So thanks for joining us or coming in for the first time. We got a slightly different episode for you here, changing it up as the year's winding down in many ways. We got a daytime. We're recording this in the daytime, which is weird for us.
I'm really kind of too sober for this.
Yeah.
I feel really uncomfortable.
You got coffee Gavin on this end. It's usually one or the other. So I get a bit more Woody Allen sounding over here when I'm jacked up on coffee as opposed to the slow slurring of the late night Gavin and CJ. So we'll see what happens. Maybe less slurring, but a little more jambalaya jambly than normal. So we'll see where it goes, you know. It's nice though. It's a real shit day here, so it's a good podcasting weather. So yeah, doing all right over there. You just got a nice day off, chilling.
Yep.
Cool.
Day off. I'm drinking a Tallboy Hams beer.
Right.
It's a Wisconsin beer. I highly recommend it.
Oh.
It's super cheap, and it's it's born in the land of sky blue waters.
Oh, I love it there. Beautiful part of the country.
And the bad boy likes to drink tall boys.
Of course.
You know?
You get more beer in your body that way.
I don't have to get up as much.
So cool. So we'll get to that slurring by the end. You just be patient, listeners. We'll take you on this journey with us this time. So yeah, we got a slightly weirder.
It's gonna be a fun one.
What's that?
So it's going to be a fun one.
Oh, yeah. So we figured we'd up the nerd level, too, in a slightly different way, where we said, Cure's been around for a long time. They've used a lot of cool gear, so we thought maybe we should do a gear episode. And we understand that that's dangerous territory, because much like getting into the side projects of members and histories of this and that, and a lot of disclaimers should be thrown out there. While we both play music and have a strong love for gear, there's gonna be stuff that might slip through the cracks, and so just throwing it out there. But we're gonna be talking a lot about guitars and stuff, so I know a lot of people might be like, but we're gonna try to tie it in. We're not gonna just like spout off names and companies and stuff, hopefully. So
because there's Google.
Yeah,
people can just Google stuff.
Hey, the listener can look at this stuff and look at pictures just as easy as we did. So, but we would like to try to keep some kind of theme of what they were using in specific eras and did it affect their sound? I don't know. We'll hash it out. Maybe the whole can you replicate that just by having the gear? So if you're a musician out there or just a fan of gear, I can't imagine somebody would just buy a bunch of gear. They can't play anything, but I'm sure weirder things have happened, and so this is the episode for you.
I've seen it. I've seen people do it. It's really weird.
Yeah. It's strange, but maybe this will be.
Do you even play it? No.
No, it just looks cool. Just hang up guitar, $1,000 guitars on my wall. It's like, all right, well, must be nice. But
totally.
So like I said, you play drums. If anyone's listening to the show long enough, has probably put that together. You play drums and play some guitar and have a strong love for some gear too, right? You got a little everything going around, but your main instrument you would probably consider the drums still, right?
Yeah, I would say that people ask me if I play anything. It's I'm well versed and schooled to some degree in percussion and drumming, but I play guitar, synthesizers, drum machines, sequencers, But I would never say I'm a guitarist.
Yeah.
No, I just I do have a jazz master because Robert Smith plays a jazz master.
Yeah, I was gonna ask. So, which of these fully inspired then? So straight up because of Robert, but I mean, it's pretty widely
partly,
loved.
But
yeah,
they're just dope looking and they sound real cool.
Yeah,
they're very ice picky. Sound like piano keys sometimes, and they're big. I'm a big bad boy and I like big guitars.
Yeah.
but they just sound cool. And they look sweet.
Sweet. Yeah, that's kind of where it starts. It starts a little before that with Robert, but the Jazzmaster's pretty much the key instrument there. I'd say would you say it's
Yeah.
fairly safe to say a specific Fender guitar called the Jazzmaster that Robert uses from the early days. I guess the quick history everybody's really familiar with is that he had this Woolworth guitar that was like his first real guitar, or just real or first guitar. Woolworth Top 20 it's called, and yeah, so he had this kind of shit guitar right before when they got started, and I guess he didn't think it was shit because he loved the sound of it enough to, when they got signed with Chris Perry and we're going to record Three Imaginary Boys, as the legend tells, that it didn't seem like it was totally out of spite because he stuck with it for so long, but Chris Perry wanted to get him real instruments and got them, and they went out and bought nice instruments, and he bought a Jazzmaster, which I believe, if I narrowed it down, is a 65, but that's where I might get a little out of my nerdy capabilities, where I'm not quite sure the exact year of his Jazzmaster, but
Yeah, it's one from the 60s, definitely.
right on. And
But yeah, I think 65.
yeah, so it's this white one that's most prominent in that era, and what he did is he took the pickup out of the old guitar and added it as a third pickup in this Jazzmaster.
Right in the middle.
Right in the middle. So which I still don't fully maybe make it bassier, but I don't even really know.
Shriller.
Shrillerier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because and that's crazy because the Jazzmaster is such a shrill, like ice picky is how it's referred to the sound. So he wanted it harsher and more like like kind of more annoying sounding. It's like, hell yeah,
it's
man.
very strange, but yeah, it's just a weird thing when you look at all those early photos. It's like all that, and he stuck with that one for a long time. And it'd be interesting to see if it got used anytime. Like, when was the latest footage of using that guitar still? Because he's pretty much around the early mid 2000s, I guess. We'll get into the whole history there in a sense, but where they get picked up by Schecter guitars and they kind of just take over everything. And that's its own thing in a sense, but we'll get to that. But I just wonder, even prior to that, or even on the Reflections tours when they went back and played the old albums, I feel like they were still using the old instruments for that. So yeah. Anyway, getting ahead of myself, but yeah, so it's pretty weird that he and I've never seen anybody else do that. Have you seen any other bands like try to just totally mimic that and take the extra pickup out? And like, I kind of did a quick sweep of all, even like shoegaze bands and anybody that would be like maybe on record of like totally trying to nick the Cure sound, and see if they just took it as far as even to add a third pickup of any sort to a Jazzmaster. I couldn't find any proof of it.
Dude, I see it all the time.
What?
Like, I'm on some dorky guitar forums and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a lot of like Fender like Jazzmasters and Jaguar aficionados and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And there's so many people that like track down that Woolworth pickup.
Oh yeah, people though.
Get a white Jazzmaster.
Yeah.
And I mean, and a lot of those people are in bands and stuff like.
Yeah, but any like
that do that.
Creditable bands that you, not that they're not creditable, but like just bigger names that we know of.
Not offhand. I feel like I've seen it.
Yeah, that's why I kind of went on the hunt for it. Even I was like, somebody's had to fucking do it. But like I say, I'm sure like just at a fandom even, I'd be curious to just do it, just to have a cool one if I had anywhere near enough cash, like going back to just having a cool guitar to hang on your wall kind of thing. But yeah,
I'd keep that thing so private if I did that.
Yeah.
You know, it's so fucking dorky.
Yeah, that's
I mean, it's kind of cool, but it's
taking it to a whole other level. But yeah, that's why I'd be curious just to see if like just some band. I even started digging around all those like bands that they cross paths with a lot, and I couldn't find any photos. So if any listeners out there have anybody that we know of that had pictures, but that is cool to know that a lot of people even just talk about it, and it is out there that people are trying it, because it seems like the harder part of that element would be finding a Woolworth Top 20 guitar to get that pickup out of. I mean, is that even anything you can find these days? Or?
Yeah, totally.
Right? Are they that common?
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it's like, because there's like a Japanese guitar, and I think a lot of them used, like a lot of different companies used kind of the same pickups.
Yeah.
Not all of them, but a lot of them. So you could get like a different, like a, like a Woolworth guitar, like would be sold under a different name, but it's the same guitar.
Right, where it has like a good pickup.
Like in America, like a Sears, I forget their brand, but like a Sears guitar, like it'd have like the exact same pickup as like the Woolworth one.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
So they're around.
Yeah, cool. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Life goals. But, yeah, as far as, because, like, I play guitar. I wouldn't call myself a guitarist either, but I mostly just play guitar enough to write songs, and,
You can hold it together.
Yeah, I try, I figure I've written enough songs with guitars, so that counts for something, hopefully. But, Telecaster's the one I got.
Lead guitar in a band before.
Yeah, Guess I'll try to be modest, but yeah, it's fun. But I'm definitely not a shredder, and guitar gear kind of dude. Like a lot of it, I'm kind of like, whatever. Ultimately, with all of this, I probably do feel more. It's like, well, it is what you make of it, and I don't know. The Telecaster was like kind of my nod to that in the early days of trying to find a good electric guitar. I started out with a Epiphone SG just because it was affordable and see if I could actually pull this off. And then it was like, what's the next affordable one that's like a guitar people actually use and sounds good? And that Telecaster is like fucking, and it's weird because that was always like kind of I wanted to look like Roberts, the black with the white, and from like, I guess around 86. So they used a fairly short span of time where he doesn't really use it that much. It was only like around Head on the Door into Kiss Me era that he really had the Telecaster. Yeah. I think Porl probably hung on to it longer than him even, but anyway, it's funny with all the other guitars I get and shit, it's like it's always my most reliable one still too. Like when shit starts like crapping out or something on one of my other guitars, it's like those Tellies, man, they're sturdy. They're not the flashiest guitar, but they sound great and hold up awesome. So
yeah, I don't know. They're tanks, man.
Yeah.
Like you have a Jaguar, like a Fender Jaguar.
Yeah.
And it's like a short scale version of the Jazzmaster.
Yeah, they're pretty similar.
And those things are finicky, man. Like Jazzmasters and Jaguar guitars, like they're so finicky. Like they'd have this weird bridge that kind of like wobbles back and forth. So it can just like the intonation can just get so out of whack and so weird. But Tellys, like I have a Telecaster too, like a Telly Deluxe. This is a cooler looking version, I think. There's a bigger headstock.
Yeah.
But like the things have like they're just tanks, man. They're so reliable.
Yeah.
They stay in tune generally. Like.
Yeah, and just a good sound that's
weird
like
seeing,
very versatile too, where you can add stuff to it a lot easier. Like I feel like you can use the pedals and stuff and amps, to complement it and spice it up, because it is like such a good standard sound, and then you can make it grittier, you can make it cleaner through the amp and stuff like that, and as opposed to like got a Gibson SG too, which is awesome, but it can get a little muddier, it's just like kind of a heavier guitar, so it's like if you're trying to do delicate shit with it, it's like a little harder sometimes, but ultimately it is what it is. So they're both awesome.
On the topic of the Telecaster too, like I loved like seeing In Orange for the first time.
Yeah,
because I don't know, I feel like that's the first time I'm like, whoa, what's that? What's that? What's he playing there? And it was kind of like, oh shit, he's playing a Telecaster. Like it was just, and he like threw his wig off.
Right.
And it's just like a whole explosive, like, whoa, he looks so different. Hey, that guitar looks different too. Like, it seems almost purposeful.
Yeah, the new era too of the Cure that we've actually been talking about.
And they were wearing like black and white. The guitar is black and white.
Yeah, and I wonder, going back to the overall idea, so we're totally not losing people in dork gear talk, of the idea of like
Dorktown.
With that Jazzmaster carries on, like we're saying, from through Imaginary Boys, pretty much on. You'd have it, never officially retire that one, I don't think, until the Schecter stuff. But and I'm sure he still has it and plays it probably more than. but like with the sounds that change as far as like what the band is using. Even through the top, he was still using the Jazzmaster, And then we see the Telecaster kind of come in more with like Porl kind of stepping in and doing a bigger actual part on Head on the Door and stuff, especially as like the touring band and playing more like hollow body Gibsons and Telecasters himself and shit. So I wonder if that had something to do with like just the bigger sound or something, maybe changing around then, like switching to the Telecaster. But they're still pretty similar. I mean, they're both Fenders like that, you know. I don't know.
Yeah.
And it didn't really seem to last long enough to really, because then I guess through just Kiss Me, he starts introducing more of a hollow body Gibson and stuff like that occasionally too. That's the first time that pops in. So it's weird just for how drastically different the sound of the band is shifting. It doesn't really seem, you know. What do you think on the correlation of that? Any speculations of like instruments that they're working in just because of the shift in the different sound?
Absolutely, because like when they were doing, you know, we'll say Jazz Master era, which was spanned, you know, through Imaginary Boys, like probably all the way, you know,
up to top technically, but still using it a lot, yeah, all the way through.
Yeah.
And
he used a few other like kind of fucked up guitars, like you know, like just weird guitars that you can get to sound fucking gnarly, like along with the Jazz Master, you know, like during you know, like Pornography and Faith and stuff like that. So they're going from like all these fucked up guitars that you can brutalize, and they just sound fucking weird sometimes. On all these like harsher records, just real different shit.
Yeah.
To, you know, like Head on the Door, Kiss Me, where it's like kind of a big change of just like more sonic differences, and they're prettier and kind of more standard in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a big shift in the sound.
Like what we were saying too, of the Telecaster being one that you can add pedals and amps, and it is such like a good. I wonder if that was kind of the reason too, is because the sound was getting bigger with the keyboards and the, you know, or like extra guitar. They're actually doing stuff. So, because that Jazz Master is kind of the core of the 3-piece era, you know, where it's just like,
right.
So he's carrying it all with that, and then you leave a little more space for other guitars and stuff in the live set. So.
Exactly.
And then recording wise, who knows? Unless somebody's there, you really don't even know. They could be using totally different shit, or just, you know, grabbing whatever's in the studio. The way that tends to happen when you're recording albums, you know, it's like producer guy probably has like 15 guitars just laying around anyway, and he's like, "Oh, cool, let me try that," you know. So you can.
I imagine if there's some dude that runs like a Cure Gear website, if they're listening, they're like, "God damn it!
No!
Like, you fucking morons!
No, you
like,
can hear the
they
sound."
didn't do that."
It's like, yeah, whatever, man. So, anyway,
well, if you listen to episode 64 of my Cure Gear podcast, you would know I went over their studio instruments versus their live ones.
It's like, oh, I didn't know that existed. So yeah, like I said, and anybody that has more distinct proof or thoughts on this too, feel free to contact us. Of course, that's always out there. But yeah, I don't know. I guess from there, it is kind of strange too. Around Pornography, you see the black Jazz Master pop up, which is weird because I never saw much proof of that from the start. So it was almost, and that one also has a third pickup. So it was like, and I didn't see the white one disappear. So it wasn't like that one crapped out and he just swapped it. It's almost like that one took it.
Possibly, man.
Yeah, which is weird that he did that to 2 Jazz Masters and like a little later. So it's weird because you would think it's just like the one-off guitar. Then he's like, fine, whatever from there. But yeah, so I don't know. Or maybe the white one did shit out at some point, and because then like through the top, he's using the black Jazz Master with the third pickup more. So that's a little weird. But
I mean, if you think about it, playing a guitar from the 60s for years and years and years, and like touring and touring with it, like it's gonna take some damage.
Yeah,
you know?
something's gonna happen. So that'd be something to try to track down a little bit more to know if the black one took over for the white one, or if it was just another one that he got to have a spare in the rotation. But hard to say.
Probably a spare.
Yeah, I guess it goes without saying as far as the sound shifting too, and we've mentioned in the album reviews the idea of around the top, and then more noticeably Head on the Door, the introduction of acoustic guitars finally into their live set and on the recordings and writing and all that. So
Right.
that's hasn't been too shocking with the use of acoustic guitars. They used an Ibanez. I wrote it down as an AE 300, maybe 500. Can't really read my number, which sounds about right. That's the one he's using like on In Orange and stuff, and a lot of the top footage that you see out there. And then the the good old Ovation makes its appearance. And I know how you feel about that.
Who's that lady that's saying like come through my window?
Melissa Etheridge.
Melissa.
Yeah, long line.
Her and
of
Robert
wonderful-
Smith.
Yep, like two.
It's such a the Ovation is such like a fucking weird sound, like
Yeah.
that plastic back to it, like I can pick it out of a lineup, and it's like
Yeah, it's so
I hate
weird.
to say it, but I hate the sound of Ovations. Like
Yeah.
they sound so plasticky to me.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan either. My first actual acoustic guitar was actually an Ovation, but that was largely because I was like, well, if Robert uses it, and just it's so much more affordable as like a first good acoustic guitar, and it's because half of it's
You got it
plastic.
because of Melissa Etheridge. to
And
be
Melissa
honest.
Etheridge, yeah. I think there's an old Bob Marley footage of him using one, but as much as I love Bob, I wasn't really trying to go for that sound either. But yeah, they're really weird, and he did hang in there for a while with the Ovation, especially the 12-string there through like Show and like Wish era. Feel like he started to shift by Wild Mood Swings to something else, but because he had a Guild 12-string acoustic too that kind of stuck around a lot longer, and used that on like a lot of Disintegration and stuff like that. But yeah, it's weird. But I had a theory too that like with the plasticky sound of an Ovation, I'm just wondering why somebody that could have their choice of any guitar would choose that. A lot of it is it's weird with plugging in an acoustic anyway. Like I always have trouble with that. Like just whatever PA you're plugging through or whatever, or an amp that you're playing it through, it always kind of just sounds that way. Any good acoustic guitar, even with a pickup, it just never quite captures its real sound when you're plugging it in. Ultimately it'd be ideal if you could just mic it, and that's what they always probably do when they're recording in the studio. You never plug in anything for an acoustic, really, just mic it. But so it's kind of like maybe because it is just
It's a tough sound.
Yeah, it's already so like plugged in anyway that it cuts through a little better, maybe. So I don't know, but especially
Possibly.
for the 12-string, that makes more sense too. But like, yeah, I don't know. There's still plenty of good pickups and good. It's not like they have a shit sound system when they play or something. So you'd think he'd pick something a little more. But
Let me ask you something. What putting you on the spot? What's the first use of an acoustic guitar in a Cure song? Where's its first appearance, do you think?
On the recordings, I guess that
Yeah,
would
on
be
the
top. On the top, I guess they're in there more. But then, yeah, so I guess they're on the top, like in Caterpillar and stuff. There's like usually mixed in with electrics and stuff on that, but like trying to think of what he would straight up play it with. It might not be till, because even like Caterpillar, it's in there, but like I think playing it.
I would count in there.
Yeah.
Like not just an acoustic song, but like just in there.
Yeah, so I think it's that, but most prominently, like that's why In Between Days and stuff was kind of a big deal, because it's like a first like Cure kind of song that he's really just busting that out, and like the blood and stuff like that. So it's definitely a little more all over the like prominent on the Head on the Door and stuff, but I think it's in there for the first time on the top. So is that a safe enough answer? Yeah, you covered that.
Yeah. God damn.
But that would sound weird on an electric guitar. You have to play that on a acoustic. If it was just all like dong 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 with like
it almost kind of
like a
it
distortion,
almost kind
pedal.
of slay on like, fuck yeah.
It'd be like a metal song or something. But
That'd actually be kind of badass.
Well, there you go, Robert. So yeah, I guess from there, I don't know. What do you think? I guess like the $1 million question we can ask in the middle here is, how important is all this? Do you think that if you just gave them any shit instruments, would they still sound good? I mean, obviously they'd sound good, but would it really change the sound that much? Because a lot of it is like the pedals, the playing, the amps. I mean,
I think they would like. Of course, I think, you know, dude can write a song and he can play guitar, and like everyone in the band can fucking shred
right.
and slay on anything. You can give them anything, and they could make something cool sounding out of it.
Yeah.
I like the importance of gear. Is just like you can create. I don't know, like good gear eases the creative process, you know.
Yeah.
Like it becomes like another member of the band almost, because that's like, you know, you hear bands, you know, some bands, and it's just like you hear that distortion sound, and you know it's like oh, I know that, like that's the fucking Grooms or something, you know. Like I can pick band sounds, you know, like if they use like a certain type of drum machine a lot, like you know, I hear that, and that's not possible without gear, you know.
Right.
So I think it plays a pretty big part.
Yeah.
It becomes like another member of the band, you know.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's a good point, because it's like kind of the avenues I'm looking for. There's a part of me that's always kind of like, and it was like Sebado that was always like using shit on purpose, you know, like really crappy guitars. I don't know like how much on purpose or what, but it just seemed like it was more out of like funny factor or something. But I don't know. But like, yeah,
they're a fantastic example of a band who's just like, oh, I know that sound.
Yeah, exactly. But it's still them. Yeah, you hear it and you know exactly what it is. But then, like what you're saying, and I hadn't really thought of
guitar.
Yeah, and I hadn't thought about like more just the vessel to make them create what they have over the years, and like the comfort level. It's like you could give, you know, like technically bad analogy, like give Tony Hawk some Kmart skateboard, but he'd still be able to kick ass on it. But you give him a nice one, like Robert picking something that he's comfortable with, it's gonna give him
360s.
Yeah, he's gonna tear it up and like, you know, just be comfortable enough to write what he needs to write and stuff like that. And having that ability and avenues to go down those avenues with the talent that he has to comfort level. Because it is funny with like as a kid, like you just look at these guitars and you're like, oh man, I want this because it looks cool, and then you kind of like learn that the sounds complement each other in different ways. So it's important if you are going to get more than one guitar to get something that sounds a little different, because you don't want to just buy 5 of the same guitar and shit like that. But then it's funny how like you don't really realize too, like just holding it and how like the comfort level of it is so much more important even than the sound. Like on a lot for me, like the neck, if the neck just feels good, you know, it's like you can just do so much more with it, and then you can make those different sounds that you want to and stuff. And
it's like your hand's not going to get tired like halfway through, you know, playing on a big chunky fucking neck.
Right. Yeah, it's crazy how much of that, like even just shitty acoustic guitars, because that's probably the most common thing for people out there, is everybody just kind of has like a shitty acoustic guitar laying around. But like if you pick up,
there's some beauty in that.
Yeah, and they can sound good actually, but they're just monsters to play a lot of times. If you just go over somebody's house and they just have like a crappy acoustic guitar that they don't even really play, and like, oh, and you start playing it, but it's
dusty
just
strings.
Yeah, and the neck's just like, you know, friggin' foot wide on it. You're just like, good God, what is with this thing? It actually sounds pretty good, but like, it's just like you get like a nice acoustic guitar, it almost feels like an electric guitar neck on it, you know, or it's just like, oh wow, yeah, this feels so much better. But I'm sure a lot of it's preference. Some people probably like digging into that big clunky neck too. So who knows? But
I bought I was at like a flea market kind of thing, and I bought this like weird Japanese. I don't even remember the brand. Like it was like late 60s, and it was like a 6-string. What's the goddamn? I'm brain farting, like a baritone, like a Fender, like the big ass Fender that Robert Smith played, like a bass 6.
Oh yeah,
the Fender bass 6, which we'll come to, but it was like a Japanese version of it.
Oh wow.
And it sounded dope. The like electronics were kind of jacked up on it. It had like a million switches on it. It just looked cool as shit.
Yeah.
But the thing weighed like 80 pounds. And I always used to call like guitar players pussies when they're like, "Oh, my back," just from standing up practicing. I'm like, that thing weighs like 7 pounds. Like,
yeah.
But this guitar, like the neck was so fucking. It was like if you sawed a baseball bat in half, that was like the back of it. It was just so thick and round. Like I was like, God damn it! There's a motherfucker to play.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do you still,
I sold it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, do you still have that?
No, but it sounded cool, just like that bass 6.
Yeah,
Robert used all the time, which is a very iconic thing.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah, it's funny how like long it's been and it's just been like the unsung hero. I mean, I guess anybody that really follows him, but it is weird. It's always just kind of lingering in the back and such a pivotal sound, and even is still in there. Like, I believe like even on this last tour when they're all Schectered out on everything, on the Disintegration songs and stuff, still like they would use an actual. It might have been a Schecter one. I guess I hadn't totally confirmed that.
Yeah,
but
they did do like a 6-string bass.
I know they have
Schecter.
one, but I feel like I saw some pictures where it was like still the actual Fender one that they used because it's all over.
No, you're right.
Like Disintegration and shit, like in particular, it's like that's the main beauty of that album in a way. Even though they used it a lot on the early stuff too, but like it's just so like all over Disintegration and even if he's not using it,
all of Faith.
Yeah, it's really cool because it's such a weird thing because it's not a bass and it's not like a guitar really, but like I don't know where it falls. I mean, I feel like it falls more guitar.
It's just like a baritone.
Yeah,
kinda. Like it's just like a lower scale or register or something.
I've
like
never
that.
actually played one though. I mean, it's like it's my dream guitar at this point, but I've never actually played one, so I don't even know what they feel like. But seems like it's gotta be.
Yeah,
awesome.
they just got like it's like just a longer guitar with like thicker strings.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and you can play chords. Like you can play chords on them. Like they get a little muddy.
Yeah.
When you play chords, but they sound dope, man. Like send them through some distortion or even not, they just sound real cool. It's like a guitar with a little gut punch
it's
to it.
Perfect idea. I can't believe they're not all over the fucking place. Seems like everybody would use them, you know. It's like, man, they're so expensive too at this point. It's just like ridiculous. Like $7,000. I don't know. Like trying to find like the lowest actual Fender one, but they do have, like you're saying, the Mexico and Squire ones I think are out there, but they're still pretty high.
I've been tempted with some of those, man. But I'd rather get like a legit like one from the 60s, like
that shit's
I don't know,
through the roof.
Like the Beach Boys used them a lot, you know, like on Pet Sounds and stuff, and like they just sound so fucking good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, that's probably my next and last guitar.
Yeah, me too. I think we've got it all covered at this point, but yeah, somewhere along the line it would be great to just have one of those for nothing else, just to play along the Cure songs with. But yeah, it'd be pretty rad. And it's the one that's the actually silhouette of on the like in orange. You know, when you see I guess maybe the box probably doesn't have it in there, but when you see like a lot of the silhouette from the actual film of him singing, not playing guitar, it's on the stand behind him, you know? It's
right,
it's the actual bass 6 there, and it's really weird. But yeah, it's cool, man. I'm thinking about the Schecter one too because it's actually affordable. Where I'm like, well, technically, it'd be worth a try. I wouldn't buy it without playing.
Let's have some standards.
Should we address the Schecterness, even though there's some stuff we can lead
let's
up
get
to?
onto this, man.
All right, so I don't know the full story of where the friendship must have been made or what. I'm sure, but I feel like it's just weird. I feel like that's my bottom line. I was like, why would you just switch from all these like big name Fender, Gibsons, all these things that seem to be like such a pivotal part of their sound to like just this one company? And I'm assuming, you know, he's got enough pull where he's just having them make these things where they sound exactly like all these other guitars, and I can't notice any difference in their stage sound. I've never, that last tour like sounded exactly if he just came out with his Fender and played that. So I can't really knock them. They just look a little ridiculous, and it's just by the name of the company, you know, you're just kind of like, oh, nobody else is really using them other than these like weird new metal bands or something. I don't even know who else really uses them.
Right.
And I've never played one, so I actually have no, real say in knocking them in any way, but it's just weird to me, don't you think?
Yeah, it's weird. And it's kind of lame.
Yeah.
Like, you think, like, Fender would be, like, all over, doing, like, signature models, and because like we were talking about, shit's so iconic, man.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Like if they did like a Robert Six bass 6, and even did like the three pickup Jazzmaster, man, like
yeah.
that shit would fly off the fucking shelves.
Yeah.
And he's played like Fenders forever. And it is a weird switch because like, I mean, Schecter, I like you said, like I've never fucking touched one and I never will. I'm not a fan of the way they look. They got weird headstocks.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, a bunch of douchebag bands probably use them.
Right.
Which is a turnoff, you know.
But it is weird because it's like you're kind of knocking it for like dirty reasons, and I feel the same way where I'm like, ugh, but at the same time, it's kind of like, well, is it like making
it's my bread and butter, dude?
Yeah. It's like making fun of somebody for like the pants they're wearing or something, you know? It's just kind of like, I don't know, man.
Which I've done.
Yeah. So we realize we're in the wrong here, but it just feels weird, you know? I blame, like you're saying, another great point where like, what the fuck is with Fender, man? I blame them, you know? They should have been like, yeah, we'll give you every guitar you want for your life at this point. You've been using such awesome Fenders, you know? It's like,
yeah.
Maybe he pissed them off by the era that we haven't talked about, too, is the we're mad. I'm sure that didn't happen. I don't know. I guess we shouldn't shift gears from Schecter till we're officially done yet. But I don't know. I'd like to at least try one out if I see it like a guitar shop, which I never go to anymore. But if I was hanging out, I'd like to try at least hold one and play it, you know, and see what the deal is.
A little strum.
Yeah. Because even the basses, even Simon's basses, he uses a Schecter. So, I mean, it was just full on sponsor deal kind of deal. I mean, it wasn't anything like, yeah, I wonder if he's just like friends with them and, you know, but.
Because they're not even that like, I mean, a couple of them look okay, but a lot of them look dumb. There's one that looked like a fucking, like a crescent moon.
Yeah.
Kind of like a Mac Tonight, big moonhead guy.
I don't think the shape of it was really.
Yeah, there's
because he's put like little
because he has like multiple signature models.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's weird.
Yeah. Right. And the acoustic I see makes sense, like using that because going back to the Ovation and shit, where it's like he's always had weird taste in acoustic guitars, I guess, because of the Ibanez and the Ovation, and it wouldn't be my first choice, but he's Robert Smith. Who knows? But and those sound good, and it's like a good solid acoustic, so that might be cool. But yeah, I don't know. It's just straight up Ultra. It's called the Ultra Cure is the signature one.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they just made that into it after, like he was just using the Ultra, and maybe then it became the Ultra Cure. But it has two pickups.
Yeah,
it doesn't even have like a weird. And I'm wondering if that was like, because it seems most similar to like it's got to be like the Jazzmaster because it covers everything, you know, and that probably covers more of their sound era than any of the other guitars. But
I think so, because I think it's like a semi-hollow body. I'm not 100%. So so it is, I think, one of those like versatile, like you can just like flick through some pickups and like, you know, that's the sound for this song. That's the one.
Yeah, maybe that's a huge part of it is that it's like diverse and he can kind of just use one or two as opposed to...
He doesn't want to walk 5 feet back and pick a guitar up off a stand.
Which he doesn't even do anymore. Somebody runs out on stage and
hands.
But maybe they had trouble with like the techs, you know, like switching out a lot of guitars. Just like, I'll just keep the one guitar, you know. I don't know, but it's a little weird, so...
I always think it's kind of funny when like roadies come out and like bring in their guitars, and it's like I want to see someone like put their hands up, like if you're putting a t-shirt on a little kid, and you're like arms up, and you like slide it down. But you do that with the guitar, you know. You're just like, baby needs his baba and his guitar.
Or after the tech puts it on him, then he smacks him on the ass and runs off the stage. You know, like you're in, go get him, boy. Like a good coach.
But Simon's always played dope ass basses though.
Yeah, I guess quick rundown of his stuff. He's always had some good ones.
Yeah, like dope ass Rickenbacker, like the black and white one. Like Gibson Thunderbirds is kind of like what I always think of him like when I think of Simon playing bass. It's always like with the Thunderbird.
Yeah, which I feel like is
Swung
later. I
low.
tried to look that up just to confirm it, and I don't think that really kicked in until about like Wild Mood Swings, which is weird because it is something you kind of always associate with him. But like, I don't know if he ever really used it. Like, it seemed like
Really?
it seemed like all through like the early shit, he was either using like just a P bass or a Rickenbacker.
Yeah.
And then like I had his like around Head on the Door when everybody was kind of shifting. He used like a Ernie Ball one for a while there. And then he just kind of switched.
Those are kind of dope, man.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to like fuck around with the Ernie Ball bass. Like,
Yeah. There seem like a lot of cool bands use those that I like the bass lines and sound really good. So.
like Flea.
Oh yeah, number one favorite
He always
bassist.
played
Entertaining, great sportsman, great pants. But dude
they
from
sound
Blur
good, like-
played one a lot, so that was like
Yeah.
kind of cool. But yeah, then Simon pretty much switched a lot to those like Gibsons, and I had trouble kind of locking down which ones those were, but they're all like those kind of hollow body Gibson ones that he
Yeah.
uses like on pretty much Wish up, and EB2s maybe Starfire 66 are jotted down. I spent like a whole night where I was just like looking at pictures and trying to like do like.
Oh no, that's a Guild hollow body.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah.
Like those
That's
are
good.
those are dope, man.
And he had the Epiphone
sound
one
good.
too. That was kind of the same deal, but it's like a fancy Epiphone one, a Jack Cassidy, I think it's called. But
Yeah, those look so cool.
yeah. So yeah, now he uses his Schecter Ultra Spitfire. So.
Lame. But
he makes it sound good, so maybe it doesn't matter.
He does.
I don't know. So
he does.
yeah,
I bet it has like a little switch where you can make it sound like a solid body to a hollow body,
yeah,
like,
probably. It's like
just so he doesn't have to go back.
yeah.
Man, if I had that many cool guitars, I'd have them all lined up behind me on stage and I'd switch guitars mid-song. It's like, you want to see another cool one?
Yeah, maybe.
Like, check this motherfucker out.
Maybe, but maybe at a certain point you just rather put it on and don't want to fucking take it off anymore. So it's like, so,
What's the point?
yeah, I don't know. Maybe we'll understand at some point. We're like, oh yeah,
I know.
It's hard to.
When we got old.
Oh yeah, fuck that. Just use the same guitar. We're up here for 3 hours. It's gonna take forever if I keep changing. But yeah, and I guess something to touch on too, just those Gibsons that Robert starts using around Wild Mood Swings in particular, but I guess like Wish actually he uses that a lot. Like these like seemed like they varied. There was like a big Gretsch one that he used too. It was like a Tennessee Rose it's called. Just has like a little whammy bar, and just these like red Gibsons that he kind of passes around. And it was funny, I started noticing whether they're the exact ones or what, but like when he starts pretty much from like Wish up, like a lot of like what Pearl's using, and then more like what Perry uses is just like the extra guitar that Robert isn't using when he's playing and stuff. So like a lot of times when he's using the acoustic or something, then Perry would be using the Gibson hollow body and stuff like that. Just to
Those are big on like Wish and stuff,
Yeah.
like you're saying, like, and I think that's cool, man. Those hollow bodies like really add to the sound.
yeah.
Like they just like they breathe a little more. They're not as percussive and bitey.
Yeah. I feel like that's like all he was using on like Wild Mood Swings and stuff, if not the acoustics at that point, and with like these big ass like Mick Carr ones and stuff like that. He was just kind of digging into those. But yeah, I guess a ES 335. I wasn't totally able to lock down like the thinner one. There's like the big thicker one, I think is the Tennessee Rose one, but there's one that's like a little more of like a narrower hollow body still, but
Yeah, I forget too, but it is like a ES something. But yeah, there's like the kind of a thin, big ass hollow body, and then like the thick, big ass. But he always played like the thin jams.
Yeah. And then the weird one we were talking about before we hit record was this National Newport guitar. It is a National Newport Val Pro 88. And it's one that sounds like a lot of gibberish I just said, but if you see it, most guitar people would probably like, oh yeah, those weird ass ones that like very strange shape and have like 6 knobs on the bottom. Not even sure what the hell all those knobs could be for exactly. It's only got 2 pickups. But yeah, it's pretty cool.
A lot of, what's weird about those? Like, I think it's made out of some type of like plastic or like fiberglass kind of shit.
Uh-huh.
And they're like hollow bodied. So it's just like this like plastic shell.
Weird.
Like, yeah, like
yeah, I believe
like
it.
it's such a, it could be such a, it's a harsh, such a harsh fucking weird sound, you know, like you know, most people like you have to run it through some shit.
Yeah.
To like but they're weird,
Which
they're
would
cool
be
looking.
which kind of makes sense why he would switch to more just full on hollow bodies and stuff after that. But he still would dig them up. Like, strangely enough, it was used a lot on like disintegration stuff. Like, even like I looked at like actual 1989 tour
Nuts.
stuff. Yeah, like if he wasn't using like the bass 6 on a lot of shit, it was this. Like in particular, it was like Love Song and Fascination Street, like where he's just full on using that guitar. And some of the concert footage from that era, like 90 even, he was using on like Catch and M even and stuff. So, but who knows, by that point it could be whatever reason he's just using it live. But but yeah, he almost always used it. I think even on the trilogy thing that they did later, he would still use it on like Love Song in particular. I remember seeing him use that. So it seems like a real definite for disintegration sound, which is strange because it is kind of a weird one-off that he doesn't normally regularly have in the lineup, you know?
Yeah.
So,
And such a pretty record and a weird guitar, like a harsh
yeah. So,
sounding guitar.
pretty strange, but I don't know, man. And I just saw Reeves play recently, and he's like full on Reverend guitars. He's like, that's his Schecter. Have you seen any of those guitars? You familiar with those?
Yeah.
Like I think he's definitely in the category of he can make anything sound like whatever he needs it to. But
yeah. But drums, man.
yeah, take
It's,
the drum
being a
angle.
drummer.
What you think?
I don't know. Like,
how do you get that unique lull sound?
rototoms. I've talked about this on the podcast ad nauseum. Like, fucking rototoms are the shit. And that's I don't know, that I think that really stands out as like part of their sonic palette throughout their early years was like rototoms and like
So
I love
did
them
that
so much.
not really come in till 17 seconds, or you didn't really have that going on in the like Three Imaginary Boys shit, or was it? I mean, it's a pretty small window there, but
I think so.
maybe from the get-go.
I don't know, maybe not, but it was really early. No, I don't think so.
Yeah,
But yeah, it was probably like 17 seconds.
cool.
Was when he started using those, and that's where his drumming got like cool.
And
I
for
think.
those, and partially myself, what's the appeal of why would you use that over just a regular tom? What do you think he was going for?
Because it's all a rototom is just like a, you have like the head of the drum, and then like say your conventional drum, then there's like a wooden shell, and then another head at the bottom. So it's like this big cavernous space for sound to bounce around in. And rototoms are just like basically just the top of that drum head. There's no shell, so it's just the sound of this drum head, and it's usually like thicker, kind of plasticier.
Yeah.
And they're just bitey, quick. There's no resonance. Like they just like, pop, doop.
Yeah.
There's no big boom to it, and it really cuts through in the sound. And it adds to like really rototoms and tons of reverb.
Yeah.
Because it is such a bitey sound. It's just like sending out this like into this like goosh, big reverb wash, and it's just like this one quick little tom sound. It's not a big boom kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
I could
very
see that being
bitey,
cool.
much like the Jazzmaster,
Yeah.
which I think is interesting. It's just like all these bitey sounds in their early years.
Yeah.
But to me, that was pretty iconic. And then Boris is always dope, where he never used ride cymbals. I always thought that was fascinating. Boris, no ride.
No ride at all?
Nope. It was all fucking crash cymbals and like China cymbals, those big like bent up ones with like ksh.
Huh. Yeah, I didn't know that.
He's a lot on.
So is that where you got
he's-
that from as a
he's-
kid? I thought you were just always going for that 90s rock sound of just destroying everybody's ears. Because you would never use ride cymbals.
that's-
You always just use the crowds like...
That's actually
It's like, ah!
That's actually where I got that from. It was like Boris no ride. I always use just like a regular crash cymbal, you know, like on the left side of the kit, and then as a ride cymbal in that spot where you normally see one down lower, I would just get like the biggest crash cymbal I could find. So it's always like a 20-inch crash or a 21.
Yeah.
And a crash that big just makes so much fucking noise.
Right.
I guess and I love it.
That's the difference, though. Maybe they're playing, you know, like Dodger Stadium, and we were playing in my basement. It's like,
yeah.
But that's funny.
Totally,
you learn something new every day. Yeah. That's awesome. I didn't know that.
But that's totally why you're deaf. Owen's deaf is sitting next to those cymbals.
Totally.
But in my later years, I did move on to an actual ride cymbal. It's like a big ass 22 Zildjian K like dark ride or something like that. But it's huge and it's so fucking loud. Mm-hmm. But it kind of you can do a nice ride sound. Nice. But it's still just like huge and washy, and that's like a big takeaway from like Boris is playing.
Yeah, that's cool
for me. And like I still contemplate every once in a while because I think he played like Sonar kits. It's like a British company,
right?
For a long time, and like the really good ones are fucking super expensive.
Right.
I've always wanted a Sonar kit.
Yeah, that would be awesome. What did Lowell use? Was this a?
I think he's like Ludwig kits. I'm like 75% sure. I should be 100% sure, but I'm like 75. Like it was like Ludwig kits.
Looked at that at one point, but yeah, I can't remember. So, that's cool. Well, yeah, I guess we had talked about wrapping it all up with the idea of what is the legacy of all this, and is there a legacy in the gear in itself? And you had a couple good points. Of
don't put me on the spot like that, but yeah.
You had some good points. Yeah, we're just kind of saying with the idea that we kind of addressed in the middle here of like, well, does any of this matter? If they're great, talented musicians, they could technically be holding anything and still have written all these amazing songs and recorded all these albums that we love. But there is a legacy in the sense that, you know, these songs were crafted with the vessels that they used of these instruments, and for other reasons, of course, than making the albums, but inspiring people all over the world, such as I and you, and what you just mentioned with Boris and the styles of, you know, just kids see these things. Yeah, No Ride. And, you know, we all see these different avenues and these instruments, and it inspires you to just grab a guitar. Nobody knows how to play it until you get it, you know, and if just holding it makes you feel a little bit like Robert Smith, then that's pretty rad, you know? And then you learn how to play it, and you find your own sound and your own style and everything, and that's where it matters. But to a certain degree, yeah, all these things are very iconic, and all these images that are burned into your head of staring at the pictures is all of it is as a kid, you know, whether it's you chose to wear puffy shoes for the rest of your life, or you just like wearing sloppy makeup, or, you know, a lot of us just saw those guitars and we're like, I want that guitar, you know, and then you play it and you learn how to get your own sound out of it. Is that kind of what you're addressing? I feel like I just
kind of not as basic, but
well, what do you got?
Yeah, totally. I mean, but just anything that, like, you know, inspires someone to fucking make some noise,
right?
And learn, you know, like Robert Smith and his Jazz Masters and Boris and his No Ride. Like, I mean, that shit morphed my playing, you know, that's affected you know, that's how I learned to play, you know. And I love it when people, like, you know, say like My Bloody Valentine, like Kevin Shields, like his legacy to the music world other than his music is just like, dude plays like Fender Jaguars a lot, and it's like he's famous for like his pedal boards, and there's like a reverse reverb that he always uses, like this rack effect. I think like Yamaha something 90 or something, but it's like it's an icon. Like when I hear that, I'm like, oh, that's My Belated Valentine.
Yeah,
I know that sound.
Sure.
And I love it when, like, you know, when I like see bands or like play with other bands, you know, and they have like this massive pedal board and like It's like I know where that came from.
Yeah, and even
love
arguably
seeing-
the pedals
I
are
love
such
that.
a huge sound of it, and could just do. We haven't really even addressed that, but like the idea that these pedals could even possibly make a bigger mark on the actual Cure sound, but so many of those like get swapped out for specific brands and stuff. You don't want to just be like, he's done those guitar magazines where he lists all his Boss pedals that he uses and everything, and of course flange and stereo chorus and delays are all over the place, but it's like we can't.
I always think of like chorus. When I think of Robert Smith playing, it's just like chorus.
Yeah, or chorus
I
mixed
normally
with
hate
delay even and stuff like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's like. So it's tough, and I mean that's like, somebody listening to this might be like, how could you not even mention all the pedals? But it's like, how the fuck do I know what's on his pedal board from show to show? It's like I'm sure that's changed weekly, or like it's so tweaked to like whatever the hell he's got running through it. I saw like Reeves' pedal board when I just saw him recently, and it was like crazy that he didn't seem to be like relying on it so much as I thought it would be, like just this wall of sound. He still was just playing awesome shit, but at the same time it looked like there was so much shit run together that he could be landing a F-16 on that thing for all I knew. It's like I don't know what the hell's going on, but yeah, sorry to interrupt there, but I think the pedals are a huge, when you hear it, that's a huge part of the sound for sure, and should be acknowledged.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah, like exactly. But yeah, like I like to think of like a legacy of a band.
mm-hmm.
You have their songs, like their music. Then it's like gear, and even like image of the band.
Right.
Which gear can fall into both categories. People play certain instruments just for the fucking image,
Right.
which is a little weird.
Right.
Like I play in a shoegaze band, and here's my Fender Jaguar.
Yeah.
It's like, of course.
Right.
But I've seen tons of like really good shoegaze bands that use Jaguars, and it's like completely normal.
Yeah. You could,
But it's weird.
you could,
But yeah, just the legacy of gear and what that passes on. Of someone that just inspiring someone to like, I'm gonna get that fucking dope ass Jazzmaster.
yeah.
And then starting a band and playing music and getting down.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That is.
That's nice. It's a nice thing to pass on. People pass on like people's legacies. Sometimes they're horrible.
Right.
But if it's just like that dude played a cool guitar, I'm gonna get that because they were cool. That's in the end. That's a very nice thing to pass on to the world.
Yeah.
They're just like, hey, this is cool.
And the way you do associate those things with those acts, like when you just picture Springsteen rocking out on stage, you got to put a Telecaster in his hand and,
Yeah, beat up old like wood colored one.
Yeah, everybody kind of has those things, where it's like AC/DC.
Willie Nelson
you
and his
gotta
guitar.
you got to have the fucking SG.
Dolly Parton and her tits.
Yeah. There you go. So yeah, I think that's a good bottom line that we can wrap up on, and I don't know.
Yeah, man.
I think it's fun, and hope kids out there get inspired, whether you go buy a Schecter even and want to be like Uncle Rob and play your Schecter guitars. That's fine too. So.
And you'll regret it.
We'll see. Let us know. I don't know.
But get a bass 6 and get weird.
Yeah. Go to the source, Probably always safer. Start at the
Buy a
beginning.
PV amp. Buy a big old PV amp to play that bass 6 through.
Yeah. And if anybody out there has done the full experiment with the Woolworth Top 20 guitar pickup and the Jazzmaster, we would love to hear your nerdy perspective on how that all worked out for you and if that was worth it or not. So
tell us your gear stories.
Yeah.
Because there has to be other musicians that listen to this.
Yeah. Preferably Cure related.
That are Cure fans. No, but even preferably Cure related, but I don't know, some firsties might be interesting to hear of just like, I bought this because of this dude.
Yeah, totally.
Maybe someone was like a big Geddy Lee fan and bought like a fucking Rickenbacker bass.
There you go. I'm sure. Everybody's got to start somewhere. Yeah. I was always more wary of somebody.
Is a safe place.
Yeah. Always more wary of somebody that just goes out and buys a guitar not inspired by somebody, if you don't go out and look at the picture and figure out what you want, you know? Because then a lot of it is just affordability, you know? It's all like, I was all,
a lot of it is.
Yeah. I mean, I knew that he had other guitars than the Telecaster, but that was the only like reasonably priced one that I could get, you know? So it was like,
I know.
So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Get out there.
Yeah, well, thanks for listening, guys. I hope this inspires you to go buy some gear, and we'll catch you soon. Be sure to subscribe on iTunes and Instagram, and drop us a message there if you got any topics you want us to address that we haven't yet here on the Holy Hour. We're always up for suggestions.
We're running out of ideas, guys.
Need some ideas. We're talking about guitars, man. Nah, we got plenty of cool shit coming up. Don't you worry. But so yeah, anytime, feel free to drop us a line on there or directly to me if you want it off the record at gavinconner@gmail.com. And aside from that, I think just go on over to Arusha's site and check out CureFanDocumentary.com, see how Push is coming along, and go buy some stuff at MixedUpGifts.com. Anything you want to plug, Donald?
You can check me out at badboy69 at hotmail.com. But really don't contact me.
Pretty much just wants memes. If you have any memes, you can send him. He loves those. He's like it's like a kid in the candy store when you get Don around some memes, you know. Get him a tall boy and the internet with some memes on it. He's hey, happy, man.
I know what you mean. I'm out.
All right, for the Holy Hour, talk hard.
Talk hard.